I am not good enough. I've looked at other people and they just seem smarter than me. They're braver than me. They have greater ability. Realize in the conversation and proof we've had with James, you can look at somebody else and go, I can do that too. And you can take a chance on yourself, take that risk, jump into the pool, and see that you can swim better than most who are swimming already really well. You deserve it. Give yourself that chance and test to see if what we're encouraging you to do is actually right.
I am so excited today with the guest that we have on. The reason why I'm so excited, because he reminds me of that term, it's never too late. Doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter if your back is against the wall. You do not have to settle and take a step back. As long as you believe in yourself and you give yourself to win, you are going to succeed. So in today's podcast is giving yourself a chance. I'm excited. That's
Bro,
why.
I can tell you're excited.
Yeah.
You got the red hat out and everything.
Yeah.
James, why the heck should people even listen to this? Like, why should they not stop right now and go to the next podcast?
In life, you have to know how to flip the script. And you have to kind of look at where you are today and go, we all have, to tell you the truth, the God particle. And we're all meant to be more in life. So why aren't you reverse engineering your life and going like, is this what I want to be at 55? And the theme of this podcast and everything, it's perfect in terms of it's never too late in your life.
All right, so Min, favorite things of the week. James, feel free to think of something to add in. I know you said you used to be a really famous actor, so I'm excited to hear that story. And you can improvise, so I can't wait to hear what amazing shows you were on. But Min, favorite thing of the week, dude?
My favorite thing of the week is cracking the code of day trading. It's not the part of the cracking the code. It's because I didn't give up when the days I was losing, the weeks I was losing, and I persevered. And when you see yourself persevere and then you finally get a result out of it, it gives you so much excitement.
Yeah.
So I think it's the process. And then once you solve it, it doesn't matter what you solved. It's that you solved it because you didn't give up. I think that's the most exciting feeling to have. And I experienced that this week.
Favorite thing for me to share this week, I'm really grateful for communication in a marriage. Like that hit me a lot this week. My wife was able to remind me of some honest truths, just full vulnerability, just feeling like there's some distance. I'm fully focused on work and not intentional enough with each other. And so it hit me because I'm like, shoot, like I'm glad I get to see where I need to step up in, because then I'm not shooting in the dark. Like I'm not just going about stuff assuming everything's good, but being able to just remember, I got to be intentional here. I got to make sure that I'm doing the right things for the person I love in the way that she wants it. So that was a good win for me this week. I was really happy about that. James,
yeah,
what do you got, bro?
Sosi, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Win of the week, I would say I just hit 20K on TikTok.
Dang.
And I'm trying to catch up to Min here, my mentor, a lot when I first started out with TikTok. And so, yeah, it's all about milestones in life. And that was a good one. I wanted to hit that. And now it's kind of more about the next milestone. There's always a chase.
Not pretty much, he said it all. I think flipping the script, I think it's important that a lot of people feel like they're stuck. I ever feel like when you were a teacher, you were stuck, right? And that you went to school to be a teacher. You've been a teacher for X amount of years. You're almost on your 10th year.
Right.
And you were able to turn it around because you had the will and you gave yourself a chance to do it.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to give themselves a chance.
Right.
Like, I've been doing this. Like, I don't want to try something new. I want to be safe.
And people don't self-reflect a lot.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the foresight and going like, they think that their situation is fine. But like if you're a teacher, and a lot of teachers out there, it's such an amazing profession, but you're living paycheck to paycheck. After taxes, you're getting paid first of the month. I just remember struggling and seeing Min and all these great people in the mortgage space succeed, watching them go to Miami, watching them go to Vegas without a care.
When I was single.
When you were single.
Just say.
Right. You know what I mean? And you're kind of going like, wait a minute, I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And this is
and
all
I'm way
what I meant
smarter than these guys.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
It was right after the mortgage crash. Everybody was getting pay frozen. We were in a deep recession and we weren't getting increases in our salary. And I was like, man, how am I going to get married? How am I going to meet the girl of my dreams? How am I going to provide my parents? What if my parents have to go hospital and I can't pay for the bills? All these things hit and that's when you were at the crossroad in your life. And that's when Min was like, hey, what do you think you're worth, man? Like, give yourself a number. And I said, I think I'm worth like $100,000. I only make like at the time, $50K salary. And so you ask yourself, what are you worth? And if you're worth more, then take that chance.
Dang, that's great. So what gave you the courage to actually make that brave move?
It's like you have to really like believe in yourself and your ability, right? You have to believe that like I could go into any profession, and if I just grind it out and just like educate myself, and like people don't have excuses today.
Yeah.
Like when we were a kid, it's like Britannica encyclopedia was where you got information. Like it was I'm a Gen X.
Yeah, you just age yourself.
Right, exactly. But when we grew up, it was like the beginning of the internet and things like that. But nowadays, you could use. I have a 15-year-old like, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, I watch YouTube videos."
I Googled it.
So when I started in sales, like I was just like, I'll just read a whole bunch of sales books. I know nothing about sales. I'll just watch a whole bunch of videos. Like my first video was like Grant Cardone. I watched sales. You know what I mean? And you just got to go like, hey man, like I could do it. You have to burn the bridge. Like my advice to people, burn those damn bridges. Meaning like once you cross it, like burn it. Burn those ships, not burn those bridges. Burn those bridges means like, relationships. But burn those ships once you leave. Yeah. Because once you give yourself a safety net, like, I'll just go back to teaching. Somebody, one of our good friends, Jason, was like, hey, why don't you teach on this? You keep teaching. Yeah.
You even tried it for a little bit, then you stopped. Like, so I know because you started in the summer, and then one of the LOs in the office, he was tutoring the daughter for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then even that ended, right?
Yeah. I was, so when I started, I was like a LOA, loan officer assistant, would just pick up
straight
documents.
from the teaching.
Yeah.
So teaching, you went to LOA. Yep. Okay. What happened there?
And I was just collecting documents, driving here and there to pick up copies of pay stubs. It didn't matter. But everything I brought back, I would like highlight stuff. I'd put it on Post-it notes. I remember Min and Norma would be like, hey man, you're pretty good at this. And they would just teach me stuff, and I was like a sponge. I was like, so what about this? Like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And then that was when Min was like, hey, you should do this full time instead of a summer job. Because summers they teach you how to get a job. And then that's when I talked to my parents and I got their blessing. And I said, screw it, I want to be a loan officer. I would like cold call first your sphere of influence, and then you'd cold call like 100 realtors a day and get rejected, 0 meetings. Like I was like, this ain't it.
You cut out one thing. He was an LOA and a processor, but he became a processing manager quick. He ran pretty much all the processors on my team. Yeah. And that was at the peak of my career when I had like 7, 8 like big teams, and he pretty much was a shot caller and dealt with all of them.
How many loans was that on a monthly basis?
We were funding 250 units.
Damn. You oversaw all that.
Yeah.
So educator, 250 units, and now let's look at the process that for those who are following, right? You had to have enough self-confidence to jump into the pool, right? So you jumped in head first, you burned your ships, you're now in the mortgage world, you stopped tutoring, and then this crazy little Vietnamese guy is trying to tell you, take another step further, right? Like he's like, you're already in the water, but let's get you even further. Now let's put you in the ocean. Let's put you now to be an LO. Like,
yeah.
How did you even get away with that, dude?
I think he process managed with me, but at that time my ship was sinking as running my company, and then he, while my ship was sinking, decided, you know what, it's time to take it to the next level.
He was great.
The ship was sinking.
Yeah, the ship was sinking, and then they couldn't afford my salary. And I was trying to negotiate a bigger salary as a processing manager, but they were kind of like, well, can we afford this? There were too many chefs in the kitchen, I felt. And then I was just like, my wife's like, you know what? Be a loan officer. And that's what happened.
Dang.
Yeah. And I thank Min because he, like you said, he pushed me to go in the ocean. Like, it wasn't like I was ready to be a processing manager. I was just barely being a processor.
Yeah.
But then once you get pushed into doing something above, like it's either you learn how sink or swim.
Yeah. Let's talk real quick so people know what the end result is here. What's your success? If somebody asks, hey, how successful as a loan officer have you been? What would you say? Or Min, do you want to say for?
He's still funding loans in a bad market. He was top on, so when he left me, he went to another guy who was working for me. He went on his team. They went to another company, and he wasn't just a loan officer. He started as a loan officer, then he surpassed everybody else. He's like he was a top loan officer for that team for like 3 years straight. And everyone else has like years of experience on sales, years of experience being a loan officer. He slowly just surpassed everybody. And even now at his branch, I think as an individual, he still surpasses everybody else. And I think in 4 or 5 years he's been a loan officer, right?
Yep.
He bought
2016-ish, yeah.
he bought $1 million home like that. It only took him a couple years because I know salary of a processor. Yes, you're making money as a manager, but in 3-4 years, he had enough to buy $1 million home without even blinking.
Right.
Damn.
My wife and I were like, let's move to Buena Park. We lived in a condo for 2 years, and we never went out. We never went on vacations. I took my kid to Disneyland for the first time 2 years ago. Ever.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Dang.
So cutting out a lot of stuff, we just stacked our chips. And then I remember my 15-year-old, at the time he was going to junior high, and we sat in the car in the $1 million neighborhood, and we're like sitting there like, one day we want to be here. And then when we bought our house, we bought a better house than the one we had dreamt of.
Wow.
And then so now it's like a 10,000 square foot lot, 3-car garage, overlooking 5-bedroom, 3-bath. I film all my TikTok content in my office, and like you get to overlook, and I see Irvine, and it's a great reminder of where I was. When I look at Irvine, I look at Tustin, I look at like how I was faking it till I can make it as a loan officer.
You took the step within about 2016, 2021, so 5 years. Right? 5 years, you're living in a house you could have never afforded if you would have stayed as a teacher. The reason I want to point this out is because it feels like you went from leap of faith to a new industry, and then you took the leap of faith to go full commission because you also looked at it and you identified, even through your wife's lens, you don't have to be super smart to do this success, right? Like you saw, hey, they could do it. Why could I not do it? And answering that question made you go, you know what, this is tangible, practical, and therefore it's reasonable for me to do this. Is that correct?
You nailed it. See, when Min and I were in our single days, we would go out to Newport and we'd be competing with like tall, good-looking white guys. And we would lose. We would lose that game. But then when we figured out, wait a minute, there's a thing called bottle service. You know what I'm saying? There's a thing called like, and then we would show up to clubs in T-shirts and jeans. And everybody would be like, what are you guys doing in T-shirts and jeans? And I figured out, okay, well, if I'm a club DJ and stuff like that, I could just invite girls to Sutra, and then they'll come to our table with men, and then it would be like easy. And that's what I mean by flipping the script.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, as well, being in social media, it's like, okay, I can show up to that open house every Sunday and help out these realtor partners.
Yeah.
Or I can provide them more value and our clients more value through this space.
Yeah, I feel like it's so good for any entrepreneur who's listening to this right now, right, to understand that there is nothing really special about successful people in my mind. And I feel like you're affirming that, right? In the sense of special where they have a unique talent and skill set that no one else has. Like that's not the case, because you looked at this field and you said, this is an easy place to make a lot of money. I'm going to go and throw myself in it to make myself a new future that now I'm literally tens of or probably 1,000 feet above where I used to be even physically. And it's all because like I realized that it's not that hard.
I think when people, when we talk about homeownership on social right now, there's two types of people, and you just identify there's a type of person that sees it and like, wow, that's expensive. There's no way I can do that. Or, okay, that's cool. How do you do that so I can do it?
Yeah.
I think you identified as like you're that person. And I think most successful people is that they see someone has accomplished something. The first thing in their mind is not all the excuses why they can't do it. It's, okay, how do you get there so I can do it next?
Right, dude. And we're freaking immigrants, man. Like I was born in Vietnam. And so when I came here, it was just like America's like the Holy Grail. And learn English. And my biggest regret is not knowing Vietnamese. But a lot of our parents are immigrant people. And it's kind of like the Gary Vee of like, you don't have a lot of excuses. A lot of times we all wait for the lights to turn green.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? It's an analysis paralysis, whatever it is. And so many people have that instead of just saying, let me just take a leap of faith. Let me just do it. And if I fail, learn from my mistakes. There's no one size fits all. And we keep thinking success is monetary, like money.
Yeah.
It's success is actually how you define success. Are you a good dad? Like me, I got so lucky that like I worked so hard. I would work like swap meets on a Sunday to help realtor partners. I worked 7 days a week, answered the phone at 10 o'clock at night. But you know what God gave me? The ability to see my son take all his milestones. I saw him walk. I saw him talk. I take him to school in the morning. And it's like, that is the true blessing. what is your end game? Because you could be like, you could kill it and make $10 million a year, but you're a piece of shit dad.
Yeah.
Or you're a piece of shit human who just stomped on a whole bunch of people to get where you want. Like, that's not successful to me.
Yeah. What's next for you, dude? Right? Like, you've hit a new level of financial success you've never dreamed you probably could have done when you were a teacher and educator. You are also enjoying life with family and loved ones in the way you want to enjoy it, in a way that you could be proud of. I do this with partners all the time. It's like, okay, let's not look at just 1 year production, 3 year production. When we start talking about 5 year, let's start being real. Do you freaking want to keep doubling your production? Or do you want to find an ability to coast and maintain and keep your business self-supportive? So for you, what's your goal? Are you trying to pioneer something new? Are you wanting to just stay coastal? What is success for you in the next few years?
I want to coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, the teaching background for me, like, I want to coach other realtors. I want to coach other loan officers. I want to coach them to be successful in the social space. Because we all know, like, when we started in this business, what's the number one thing that realtors and loan officers, they go to conferences, you have to master social media. And they were saying this 5-7 years back. And still, people to this day, they don't know how to do it the right way. And so for us, I think, and you said it, Sosi, too, like, the more people you talk to coach to, that's the next level, is kind of teaching people to do what we do in our space and how we've defined it as successful. And we just hope to inspire people, all three of us, on other content creators. I think Min and I, we talk about this all the time, which is like doing conferences, being the speaker of conferences, coaching people, having people, mentoring others, and going to that like really high space, that level when it comes to talking to people. And that's what's crazy about like TikTok or something like that. The craziest thing when I realized the aha moment is I have family in Canada, and my cousin, she's like Gen Z. I see her, she's like, I saw your TikTok in Canada, and I didn't even know you did TikTok. You showed up on my For You page.
Dang.
And that's what's crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of look at that and you're like, oh shit. Like,
The reach.
This is the reach. This is how crazy it is. And so it's kind of like the sky's the limit, but we all know we have to capture this moment in the next 3 to 5 years, because there will be a new kid on the block that will take over TikTok. We just don't know.
Or the new platform.
Or new
Yeah,
platform.
for sure.
Right. So we have to kind of master what we have, bottle all that in, because now we're going to start over pretty soon in the next couple of years on a new platform. And we need to go, how do we reach that audience? Sometimes we always think it's like, it's going to be like this, but like life laughs at your plans.
Yeah.
Like it's like we can all have plans, and I could sit here and be like, oh, I want to be
all
a
day
coach.
long, brother.
Right? Like, oh, I want to be a coach. I'll be amazing, guys. Like, come listen to me, pay for my seminar. And then it's kind of like something hits in life, right? And it just like goes, shit, dude, ton of bricks. And you're just like, what do I do now?
I think you hit the key, though. No matter what lot you have in life at the moment, taking a chance on yourself, going deep, either emotional curiosity, why do I want this? And intellectual justification, is this a good thing for me to want? And then making the move. Like, that's the constant, right? Like, just continuing to challenge yourself. Am I doing what I want to be doing? Or is there something else I want to do that I should take a chance on and try?
So the question, Sosi, is like, what advice would I give somebody that's kind of like, maybe they're at a fork in the road maybe in life,
Yeah.
and they're afraid to maybe take a chance, whether you're young or you're old, and you're like, should I take this leap of faith or something?
Let's say
like
it's a
that?
teacher, dude. Let's say it's
Oh.
a teacher who
I like that.
they've been teaching 5 years. They're starting to feel that unhappiness inside, and they haven't even given words or space to go, I am unhappy. They haven't confessed that even to themselves, but you know they're about to.
Right.
And as soon as they have those words come into their mental space, what would you tell that person?
I would tell them is like, the honeymoon ends in every venture you have in life. Like, you don't think pro athletes that make it to NBA or NFL go like, I thought that my life would be different being a millionaire. Like, you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there are people that make a lot of money and they're miserable at what they do. And it's no different than a teacher or an actor or whatever. So I don't think it's really about saying, oh, do what you love, because if you do what you love, it'll never feel like working your whole life. I don't really feel that way. I feel like do a job, go into a field where you can, number one, to me, and this is a personal thing, is where you can sleep well at night. Like, I sleep like a baby at night because I do a good job of taking care of the families that I help out and my
Yeah.
realtor partners. and know that it's not going to be easy and that you're going to hate your job at some point, but have that, and we all probably do affirmations, right? But then have that feeling of like, wait a minute, but this job does A, B, and C, and D, and is that worth it for me in the
Bigger picture.
the bigger picture?
That's great.
There isn't a magic bullet. There isn't an easy answer, but I just tell people like life ain't easy no matter what you do it. But if you can sleep at night and you could do more to help out more other people, I think that's a good end game.
If you're thinking to yourself, I am not good enough, I've looked at other people and they just seem smarter than me, they're braver than me, they have a greater ability, realize in the conversation and proof we've had with James, you can look at somebody else and go, I can do that too. And you can take a chance on yourself, take that risk, jump into the pool, and see that you can swim better than most who are swimming already really well. You deserve it. Give yourself that chance and test to see if what we're encouraging you to do is actually right.